Prairie Yard and Garden is a production of the University of Minnesota Morris in cooperation with Pioneer Public Television. Additional support provided by Mark and Margaret Yackel Julien in honor of Shalom Hill Farm, a nonprofit rural education retreat center in a beautiful prairie setting near Windham in southwestern Minnesota. ShalomHillFarm.org.
Today's Prairie Yard and Garden show is in honor of Mrs. Woodkey, my 5th grade teacher. Our 5th grade classroom was on the south side of the school, and we had a bookcase that ran along the south wall with big windows above the bookcase. Mrs. Woodkey's geraniums lined the entire bookcase during our school year. I can still see and smell those salmon pink flowers where my geranium love affair started. Fast forward 50 years, and today we'll see how those old-fashioned plants are still a great way to beautify our yards and gardens. Geraniums are one of the best known and most beloved flowers around. I'm Mary Holm, and count me as one of those people who really likes geraniums. Today we are going to meet Donna Christen, a gardener who takes loving geraniums to a whole new level. Donna, welcome to Prairie Yard and Garden.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Please tell us, how many varieties of geraniums do you have?
I don't know. It changes. I find one and I buy another one.
So do you start a lot of your own geraniums?
I've started them from seed. I've made cuttings. And then you also have to be aware that some of them are patented, so propagation is prohibited. So be aware of that when you buy one if you want to make cuttings of it. It'll tell you that on the tag.
I was going to say, how can you tell if they are patented?
Usually they have a trademark, and there'll also be a little note on the bottom very bluntly saying propagation prohibited.
I see. So people need to watch that when
if you are doing some of the specialty ones, yes.
So what kind of growing conditions do geraniums like? Do they like sun or do they like shade? Or
they're going to like full sun, and we're talking 8 hours sun. They do like sun. There's a few of them that I have that yellow leaf. There's one over there that really gets a sunburn the minute it gets too much sun. So those you might have to be a little careful. These are all on the east side of the house. It gets strong morning sun. They don't want to be too wet. Too wet is a bad thing, and too much fertilizer is a bad thing for geraniums. You're going to get a lot of leafy growth with too much fertilizer and not many flowers.
So how often do you water your geraniums?
Pretty much as needed. Put your finger in there, see if the soil's dry. You want the geranium to get a good soaking, and then you want it to dry out pretty much. You don't want it to wilt, but you want it to get dry. They will rot quickly in too much water.
So then how often do you fertilize your geraniums?
I don't fertilize a lot. I start with good potting soil that usually has fertilizer in it. I may throw some Osmocote into the bottom of the pot. And then I might fertilize with a weak fertilizer once during the summer. They're not strong fertilizer. If you're somebody that follows the thing on the bottle, do it half strength. Don't give them too much fertilizer.
Okay, when you're talking about that you might fertilize once in the summertime, is that using some fertilizer that you add to the water and then you water in with that?
I will use the water-soluble fertilizer and pour it onto the plant, onto the soil.
And then you said you use regular soil, but not field soil.
No, you buy yourself good potting soil.
Okay.
It needs good drainage. Like I said, they don't like wet feet, so your garden soil is going to hold way too much water. It's going to be too dense, and geraniums are not happy in that kind of situation.
Okay, and then you like to get the potting soil that has the fertilizer, maybe the fertilizer granules in there?
Yes, it'll tell you on the bag. Read the bag, read the, whatever it tells you, pay attention to that. Because you can buy garden soil, or good potting soil. Pay attention to what kind of bag of soil you are purchasing.
And if it has the fertilizer granules in there, that's kind of a slow release fertilizer that helps the growth throughout the summer. Isn't it? Most of the time, the geraniums bloom just beautifully. And how do you keep them blooming?
The biggest thing is to deadhead them, which we can demonstrate. There's also some like the Martha Washingtons. They bloom in the cool spring and they'll bloom in the cool autumn, but they don't like our July and August. They like cool nights to bloom. So this one is showing a little bit of bloom, but they're not happy blooming in July.
We talked a little bit about that you get different geraniums from different sources, but do you take any of your own cuttings?
I do. I do take cuttings. I try a lot of different ones. Some cut and root very easily. You can just stick them in the ground and away you go. Others you'll use a rooting hormone, put them in good potting soil. And normally when you cut them, you're going to get a nice thick stem and you're going to cut, and then you're going to remove. You're going to remove these stems. And if they don't want to come off easily, because this guy says, I'm not going yet, cut them off. Also get rid of flower buds.
And why do you do that?
You want the plant to put its energy into creating roots. You also want to take these little nubs out too. These are new flower buds. Get them out of there. You don't want them competing. And you only need 2 or 3 leaves. And sometimes I'll make another cut just below a leaf node. So that's where the roots are going to come out.
All right, the leaf node is where the new roots will form.
Normally, I will take this and I will let it lay for 3 to 6 hours so it starts to heal over. You'll be able to tell it looks a little dry around the edges. And then I'll put it in a rooting hormone and in some potting soil.
And why do you use rooting hormone?
It's going to help the plant create roots in a faster fashion.
And do you ever put the cuttings into water?
No.
Okay, because I know some of the ivies will root just
fine.
They
will root. Geraniums, some of the plants do not do well when you transition them from those water quote roots to soil roots. Okay. So I've always had good luck. I don't use water at all for almost anything. I use good potting soil.
So you'll put them into potting soil?
Potting soil with good drainage. And if you happen to get some that doesn't look like this, so if you happen to buy a bag that's just real dense, not real loose, you want good drainage, then I would add some perlite to it, or vermiculite, either one.
So tell me about some of the different kinds of geraniums that you have, because I know that there's zonal and, maybe just go through a listing of some of the different kinds and maybe we'll look at them a little later on.
Okay, well, I have scented geraniums, which are kind of fun. If you do those, I would put one of those real close to the house or where you always walk in, touch the leaves because they have a unique scent. There's chocolate, there's rose, there's pine scent, which is not the greatest. The ivy geraniums are great for hanging baskets. The one thing I don't like about them is once in a while they tend to break easy. The zonal geraniums are great. They're tough. They're the ones that you want to have all the time. And you also can start geraniums from seed. There's the bicolor leaves. They're great. They're fun to have.
And I see you have Martha Washington too. Now that is a little bit different, isn't it?
That's a little different. Marthas, or what they call regal geraniums, like cool weather. They'll bloom best when your night temperatures are in that 55-degree range. So midsummer, they don't bloom very well, but they're beautiful when you go into the greenhouse in spring. That's their happy time. And then again in August, they will bloom again.
When the nights
get cool.
So if you have a container, you really have a lot of different options of what varieties you can use. You could have the ivy geraniums that'll trail down. You have some that trail, or that grow more upright. Yes. What kind of pots do you like to use to grow your geraniums in?
I will use almost anything that fits the site. I have favorite pots, I have plastic pots, and sometimes I will put them in a very pretty pot that doesn't have a drainage hole. Then I'll put the geranium in a pot that has a drainage hole, and then lift it out if it gets a downpour so that it's not sitting in that water, because that pot without a hole holds water. Bad thing.
Have you had any trouble with insects or diseases with geraniums?
Geraniums are really pretty tough. They don't, diseases, no. In the greenhouse, I've had a few problems with aphids, but not a big deal.
Well, show us some of the different geraniums that you have.
This one is one of the ivy geraniums. It has very dark red leaves. The name is Great Balls of Fire. It would be great in a hanging basket or as your spiller if you're going to put it with others. This is Martha Washington, and this one is Black Beauty. Like we said earlier, they're not particularly fond of blooming at this time of the year, but this one's giving us a little bit of color right now. Just happy to see you.
Well, it is beautiful too. Tell us about this one. This is very interesting.
This one I'm trying to taupe Prairie. It's a scented geranium. It has small pink flowers, and I'm trying to get it to grow up straight. So I would cut this one and keep it looking in a ball shape. And I'll just snip off. And when I'm snipping, I'm making sure that the next piece that comes out is going to the outside the best I can. And I'll just snip those off so we get back into a ball shape and taupe Prairie this one. And like I said, this Prince Rupert is his name.
So why do you make sure that you snip them so that the new shoots go to the outside? Is that to more keep it in a ball shape?
Nice shape. Otherwise you will have stems growing inside. And on this one where you want a tree-like form, it's okay. But on some of your others, it's a big deal on many things.
Oh, that's very pretty. That's unique too. I mean, very unique. So you can use geraniums not just for their color, but for their shape too. Awesome.
Shapes, yes. Yes. And this one will probably go in the house just the way it is. Another scented one that I really like is Lady Plymouth. It's just because of the coloring. It's a nice accent piece for any other geraniums that you might want to put with it, but it's a scented. Not a lot of flower on this. You're going to get some small pinkish purple flowers.
Oh, okay. Those are quite small, but they're a pretty color. And with this real pretty green and cream colored leaf, it's very unique.
You have variegated ones. This is both variegated and it's one that's not happy in full hot sun. It's got kind of a green leaf and they can sunburn. Another variegated leaf. I love this one because of the many colors. This one doesn't even have to be blooming to look good. Okay. This is like, reminds me of a coleus with interesting patterns in the leaves.
Now you had mentioned variegated. What do you mean by variegated?
Variegated will be any of these plants that have more than one color on the leaf.
Oh, okay.
They're going to be a bicolor or even a tricolor. If you're looking at this one I think you can grow just for the leaves, just like you would a coleus. The color is very pretty. The name of this one is Velma, with V. Velma Cox is her name.
Wow. This really blooms quite nice too.
Yes,
it seems to have very much of an upright form.
Right, and that's one you could mix when you're planting a bigger planter, is to put these two together and have a drooper, because this thing likes to spill and this thing likes to go up. Another unique one, Mary, is this tulip shaped. The flower is tulip shaped, so this is a tulip geranium. She's very prolific in the flowers. As you can tell, there's lots of buds on this one coming. You'll have a lot of bloom for the rest of the summer, but it has a very tulip.
So do those open up at all, or
No,
do they stay?
These are going to stay into this little round tulip shape.
Oh, very pretty. And look at all of the blooms that are on. This must be a very good bloomer, because look at, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bloom buds on here.
There's a little one coming down here too.
So 10 on one plant.
This is a very pretty big blossom one. This is Octoshield, and this is one that's going to go in a little bit of shade. Do not give it the full hot sun. It's going to sunburn. I have another one that also has a yellow leaf, that burns quite easily when we get it in full sun. But it's a pretty color. It's kind of an orange flower. Not an aggressive grower either. This one's going to be a little bit of a slower plant as far as getting to a mature size. This one, I think I will probably just take in just the way it is. I might give it a little haircut, but I won't repot this one. It's not that big.
This is one we probably would want to put on an east side and not on a south side for sure.
No south side for this one. Not too much sun.
Or even if you have a tree that gives you a little bit of shade, that might be a good one
place
to use there.
Lovely color on this one.
I noticed different shapes of flowers. We had the tulip, and some seem like they're more a single layer of petals. So is that unique to the variety?
That's pretty much unique to the variety. What has been bred into that particular flower. This one has a beautiful bicolor leaf.
What a very, very pretty color that is, though, with the two tones of pink like that. That's really nice.
This one has been blooming for a long time and has been blooming quite strongly.
And has very distinct single row of petals as compared to, like this ivy geranium that has like a double flower.
Semi-double. This one is Mrs. Pollock up here.
Okay.
She has got another variegated leaf, and it's kind of an orangey flower. Soft orange. It's full of alyssum in here. That's a nice colored plant to go with the bicolor leaves. They blend well. Alyssum you might want to shear later on in summer when they start looking a little doggy. Just give them a haircut and they will rebloom.
That was one of the questions I was going to ask you, is what plants do you like to use with geraniums?
With geraniums, anything that will take good strong sun, and anything that's not a moisture-loving plant, because geraniums are going to want to dry out. And if you have something that droops the minute it gets a little dry, you don't want to put that with a geranium. Geraniums want to get to the little bit of a dry side. They don't like that excessive moisture. So that's probably the only criteria I have. I will probably try anything together, and if it looks good, I put it together.
This is a beautiful combination with the alyssum and the vinca, and it picks up the variegation in this geranium. Very, very nice combination.
Thank you. Yes, you can use almost anything that you find at the end of the season. If you're looking for things that you really like, then put them in your plants, try them out. You won't know until you try to see what things go well together. And sometimes it involves just holding the plants together and seeing if they look good together.
And I noticed that you had one pot that had Tahitian bridal veil in it too.
That makes a good spiller. It drops down the side. It's white. So it goes with almost any color that you'd like to have.
Do you do plants as gifts, or planters or arrangements as gifts for things too?
I have done them like for a silent auction for a fundraiser, put them together in a pretty pot and donate them. And I've used them for door prizes like for our garden club meeting. And then whatever I have left over, the Master Gardeners and the garden club both have plant sales, so I donate my extras away.
Now I'm going to put you on the spot. What's your favorite variety of geranium?
That's a tough one. I've started growing some from seed, so I kind of like that challenge of, like, can I get this thing to grow nicely? But I also really like my scented geraniums. I guess my chocolate one here is probably my favorite scented geranium. This variegated Vera Cox is quite pretty. The tulip, of course. Not my least favorite is probably Martha Washington, just because she doesn't do a great job in the middle of summer for me. She takes a break, and I like the constant flowering.
Well, Donna, thank you so much for being willing to teach us all about geraniums and for being willing to show us your beautiful varieties too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. It's been fun.
Oh, great.
Additional support provided by Mark and Margaret Yekel-Julim in honor of Shalom Hill Farm, a nonprofit rural education retreat center in a beautiful prairie setting near Windham in southwestern Minnesota. ShalomHillFarm.org.